What better way to kick off the weekend? Unless, of course, you're down south, then you're already 2 days into your long old weekend. I'm not saying I'm jealous or anything like that. It's just Canada doesn't have anything equivalent. But you know what? Hey, there is no better way for us to just enjoy, to savor heading into Saturday, then peeking in with some of our best girls. It is November after all. The Marvels has dropped, or more appropriately plopped, and well, we might as well check in to see how the box office damage is checking out, and heavy emphasis on the damage part, because as you can see, that domestic total, she ain't moving. The international one, oh, it might end up eclipsing $100 million, but the worldwide total, $200 million? Yeah, I doubt it, because we got the dailies on this one. As you can see, well, good thing we haven't quite hit equilibrium when it comes to this tentpole Marvel release not being number one at the box office, even though it has the most lofty budget, even though Wish, I was going to say Willow, that was just another abortion that came out about this time last year, but Wish almost has the most expensive budget, so you would think that it would be contending, but spoilers, it's finished not second, but third, not quite as bad as the Marvels is, and here we are, what, 2 weeks after release? I guess it's third weekend, right? And if these estimates are anything to be believed, holy, because we got the actuals, right? And then that Monday just barely creeping over 1, okay? And then now it's finishing in 5th and something else. I've got another video that's currently in the oven. It should be out for tomorrow. It's got more of an evergreen underlying topic. This one right here, everything had just all convened together. But I pointed this out, and I want to have heavy emphasis on it this time around. This $300+ million Marvel Cinematic Universe release, the sequel to the much ballyhooed Captain Marvel that made $1.3 billion, something like that, well north of a billion, geez, the third time's the charm, $1 billion, finishing 5th on a holiday weekend, behind not just Rachel Zegler's insufferable ass, not just the newly released Disney competition, but behind a biopic and a goddamn horror movie, a Thanksgiving themed horror movie, and you guys ended up giving up just about 1,000, man. Cinemas, you lost that many screens, and it didn't even help your per theater's numbers out like that. Like, holy, outside of the non-holiday days, you aren't performing any better. This is atrocious, man. And even, Fortune magazine is picking up on this. The Marvel's box office flop marks the end of an era for the studio's winning formula. Really, now you're just finally coming around to this? It's almost like these reviewers were never really all that concerned with the source material. They were just more or less waiting for the water to be warm in the pool before they decided to take a dunk, because people have been chanting about this for a very long time. Marvel films haven't really been up to snuff for a very long time. A lot of people are reassessing everything. They're just completely and totally wiping. Maybe some people just go ahead and say, well, I kind of enjoyed Spider-Man No Way Home. Was it written well? I enjoyed it. They would just wipe everything, every last scrap of content completely and totally off the table in Phase 4, and now especially with everything coming out in Phase 5, but everybody's reassessing it and kind of lining up, and I'm seeing similarities across a multitude of creators. They're trying to say that the last time that the Marvel Cinematic Universe was really true 100% uncut cinematic dope, probably with Infinity War, okay? That's a long-ass time ago. And as Captain Marvel's finding out off the back of that $1 billion box office haul that definitely wasn't fortified at all whatsoever. No, of course not. That 4.5 years in the chamber, 5 years pushing. Yeah, that's a long time, okay? Normally, you would assume that having that big of a gap, you would have a extrapolation on the old saying of separation makes the heart grow fonder, but in this case, it was like goodbye, good riddance, and the next time I see you will be too soon. The Marvels opened this month with the lowest box office numbers of any of the 33 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Whoa, it's the lowest performing one, and it's 33 to the 33rd one that's out there. I'm not saying Masons are involved, but well, that obviously isn't good news for Marvel Studios. Yeah, exactly. That's all right. Disney, the parent company and all this stuff, that's all right. They have Wish going out and, oh my God, what's happening over there? So yeah, a little pause for concern. It's not as if, it's not as if its producers suddenly forgot how to make entertaining movies. It really kind of seemed like that, because there was a starch, even for normies that were out there. They began to fall off right after Endgame. It's not like they weren't willing to go and check out. Hell, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness had a huge opening weekend. Even Thor to a lesser extent, and you were racist if you didn't go check out Black Panda Wakanda Forever. So yeah, of course, they gave casual cinema enjoyer everything that they could possibly want. But what happened? What happened? They did, in fact, end up forgetting how to make good films. Actually, because the people that were actually writing the good stuff, like the Russo brothers, Jon Favreau, all of those other creators, I hate to break it to you, they weren't along for the ride, outside of James Gunn carrying over with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which had been so well insulated from all of this stuff, even though they ended up catching a couple of strays, because that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 should have made over $1 billion. It got close. As close as Marvel's going to sniff to any sort of box office profit this year. But everybody dipped out, okay? From your big stars from the MCU to the guys writing the lines, making them household names. Some fans might say that the history of Marvel Studios is bookended by the Fantastic Four movies and Blade movies. The studio's history isn't delineated by cosmic rays or vampire hunters, but by writer strikes. Whoa, man, the cope in here is huge. Writers Guild of America went on strike in 2007, 2008, and again this year, right? Oh my God, guys, they made a bad film. They had a poor showrunner who couldn't even give less of a care to turn up for the initial screening. I had other conflicts, don't worry about it. DaCosta is a hack. Her only other previous credit was writing an independent horror film, and then she got the keys to the castle, a $300 million sequel to $1 billion hit, just because she checked off all the right boxes, right? Stick a woman in it, make her lame, and actually, I don't know if DaCosta's gay, but at this point in time, we gotta fulfill the meme, right? Or at least most of it. But I want to jump ahead a little bit to this, okay? So, basically what Fortune is pointing out with the different bolded sections is that there's several problems that are right here. It's a solution for almost every problem. Director Jon Favreau and Kevin Feige, who's very much still there, and yeah, you could definitely see the quality drop off after he assumed full control right after Civil War. It's not such a coincidence that writing started to take a backseat to key jangling moments. Everybody stay tuned for the end credit sequence to get excited for next product. And Jon Favreau, well, he's too busy fucking up Star Wars, so don't worry about it. Crushing workloads, the studio's digital artists, yes, many subcontracted through VFX houses, and yeah, they're getting put through the ringer, and unfortunately, by smooth-brained critics that are out there bearing the brunt of the criticism. It's not their fault that they're told to initially construct something, and then somebody comes back and rearranges it completely, and then they got to do something else, because Kevin Feige loves to do everything in post-production. So basically do little as possible in front of the camera and just send everything to the computer screen. Shoot everything in front of the volume and let the VFX dungeons just figure out the rest of it. How is that working for you? Is that Thor Love and Thunder just a dismembered head floating like a PS1 loading screen still in everybody's forebrain? Yeah, exactly. You can't make that work ever again. Over the years, like it says right here, the creeping nature of narrative vagueness. Exactly. That's another big problem. Nobody can remember what these films are. Not like years later, okay? Like you can ask somebody, what was the plot synopsis of Shang-Chi? Okay? Barely anybody can tell you that. But anybody right now who's seen The Marvels on opening weekend, what was that about? I don't know, something like stealing water off of a planet or getting a giant vacuum to suck the air off of a planet. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, it was just so bad and stupid. That's the problem, man. The writers are dog shit. Jack Schaefer, the head writer for WandaVision. Ooh, boy, the head writer for WandaVision. Told us on the 2021 Disney Plus series, the finale was just this ongoing question, which is pretty typical for Marvel projects. The climax of the Marvel movie is just iterated and iterated until the very end. Yeah, Disney has no idea how to write TV series. That's why, as it's also, pointed out here as well that the Daredevil Born Again series, there was 8 of 18 completely shot episodes of the show, and it was dog shit. Not even the executives wanted to release it to their streaming service, which is hemorrhaging customers because there has been a long, drawn-out, consistent track record from Marvel that the shit that they put on their streaming services, it's filler. Nobody needs to go see it. You get a recap, or it's completely and totally disregarded when you go and check out the films, if you're even so inclined to, because at this point in time, there's not superhero fatigue. It's just a simple fact. Like, okay, a lot of people like watching anime. Okay, just use that as an example. You might have a favorite anime that's out there, and frankly, I don't give a shit about it. And I watched a couple of them. You know, Death Note, I think, is highly overrated, and Attack on Titan's very good. But if you tell somebody to just go ahead and hop into, like, I don't know, say One Piece or something like that. One Piece, very good story. I've heard a couple of the arc recaps. I haven't caught up completely with everything that's going on that one. Why? Because it's so goddamn daunting. There's over 1,000 episodes. And you're telling somebody that's a lapsed fan, somebody that checked out right at Endgame, no, man, this one's really good. Just come in, okay? You know, the Marvels wasn't very good, but you can come check out Deadpool 3. Oh, my God, the third one. I watched the first one, but that was so long ago. Maybe I watched the second. Okay, no, that's going to be fine, because we got Black Captain Falcon America, man. He's going to be coming out after that. And it's like, well, what? Why is Captain America black now? What? No, what? Wait, what happened? Yeah, no, that was set up in a streaming show back in 2021. Wait, so there's a show that I got to watch? See, that's the problem right there. None of the stuff is memorable, and there's just so much unmemorable stuff. That's Marvel's big problem. See, a lot of people have been harping on this as well, okay? If the writing quality was there, people would continue to turn out. Probably not as many. Obviously, you'd have some stragglers because there's just so much goddamn content. If they would have slowed it down and increased the quality at the same time, you might have still had a franchise. Now, you just kind of have an old Ford Pinto, 1978 Ford Pinto, just puttering along the road. You just continue to try to, you know, like the exhaust manifold's falling off, so you got to change the duct tape on it every once in a while. Okay, the seat kind of rattles a little bit, so you got to wedge some cardboard between the frame and the wall, right, and the chair, so it doesn't really, you know, make too much of a noise. Like, it'll get you where it needs to go, just as long as nobody rear ends you and then you explode, and probably something that looks a little bit more realistic than anything we've seen out of Marvel in like a half decade. But where does all of that start? Inside the writer's room. And it's so funny that they go ahead and quote the head writer of WandaVision, where even when the critics first checked in with the first streaming show, that was WandaVision after all, people were intrigued by the first, 3 episodes where they had a very unique concept, okay? Going through the different periods, recreating sitcoms, and there were some sort of sinister underlying tones, like, what's going to go on out here? And then by the end of it, Scarlet Witch ended up kidnapping an entire city, brainwashing people, making them do her bidding, and then also keeping kids locked in a waking nightmare scenario, locked in their homes with their parents are just forced to do the bidding of Wanda and just wishing for death. That's right, guys. We'll never know what she sacrificed. I don't know if Jack Schaefer wrote that or one of Variety's 10 screenwriters to watch for in 2023. Holy crap, there's a lot of bangers on this list, and I might eventually come back around to talk about several other people that are on there. This pleasantly plump individual right there, first and foremost, but the first credit that is right here is the biggest bomb of all time. Why would you, Variety, are you trying to whisper? Okay, is this supposed to be screenwriters to watch out for? So if you see their resume cross your desk, if you're hiring writers, you just go ahead and look at that and throw it right away, just for easy reference. Are you just trying to highlight those types of people? But we're going to focus in on one person. That's right there. Okay, this plain Jane looking bitch right here. Nothing against her. She's just immensely untalented. Megan McDonald. She's fine. You know, maybe just, you know, probably looks better when she's not doing a mugshot, but okay, cool. She was a writer. Well, obviously not the only writer, because DaCosta did write for this abomination, but McDonald's career started with a bang when she was hired to help produce John August and Craig Mazin's Script Notes podcast. Oh boy, she was hired to do a podcast. However did that translate into a writing job for the most successful franchise in cinematic history? All right then. It was also a good role to step into after earning her undergrad degree from Harvard. So the first thing that you get after earning your undergrad from Harvard is a producer job on a podcast that I've never heard of. Script notes, yeah, okay, maybe it rings a bell for somebody, but you go to Harvard. That just also emphasizes the idea that you don't go to Harvard for the education. You go to Harvard for the networks for the networking opportunities, because take a look at this. And subsequently an MFA, so a master's in fine arts, okay, through the Peter Strzok producing program at USC. Yes, USC Film, the most exclusive film department in the entire, at least North America, if not the entire world, okay? McDonald's transition from the podcast into a role as story editor. Goddamn story. Yo, man, that's just popping off real big on the Disney Marvel series. WandaVision. How? Imagine that, guys. WandaVision was my first professional writing job. Oh, trust me, we could tell. And it was in the, and it was the room of a lifetime. Everyone was kind and hilarious. Well, unfortunately, that didn't translate to the show. And also genius. Cap, big cap. We had so much fun. McDonald has remained in the Marvel Cinematic Universe ecosystem. Oh, all this corporate speak makes me want to die. Becoming the first writer brought into Nia DaCosta's The Marvels. How do you fail upwards? God, man, this is Hollywood, and she's a white woman, of course. She also served as a consulting producer, providing writing and on-set services for Agatha, whatever we're calling it this week. Literally, no joke. This show, a spin-off of WandaVision, okay? If you remember, okay, by the time that this thing comes out, it's going to be about, once again, about a half decade old. So you'd have to go ahead and refresh yourself and watch through WandaVision to know who Agatha is. Agatha Harkness. That thing has been called at least 3 other things. I can't quite remember what the other ones were. It was Coven of Chaos, but now it's called Darkhold Diaries. I don't know, it was Days of Our Lives. Still taken. Okay, Agatha Harkness working at the General Hospital. Like, what are we doing here? These projects exemplify the non-traditional approach she likes to bring to boilerplate formats. Holy shit. I can't even remember when I was talking about this, but there's a reason that archetypal stories have worked for a very long time. There's different scenarios, different genres that you can apply them to. Westerns, sword and sandal epics, mafiosa films, hell, James Bond films. They all generally follow the same storytelling structure, and they fucking work, depending on the setting. It worked for Marvel Cinematic History. But no. This untalented hack wants to come through with her fine arts degree, and she's going to go ahead and reinvent the wheel. Spoilers, she wrote on Marvel. The receipts are in. It sucks a lot. Probably like her, so she could get that producing gig on the podcast. We talking about a podcast producer writing a multi-million-dollar script, bruh. Anyways. So, okay, she's going to be hanging around Marvel for a long time. Okay, what else is she going to be doing? McDonald has been busy writing for Apple TV's series Dark Matter. Don't know what that is. Based on Blake Crutch's 2016 novel and Amazon's Tomb Raider. Man, it's Tomb Raider. Okay, now listen, I didn't really play the original PlayStation Tomb Raider games at the time, but I do at least, okay? When it comes to women in action roles, I got a little bit of a bugaboo when it comes to some of them, of course. Not all of them, okay, not all action women, but Lara Croft in the games, the original cut of her, I didn't mind it. I didn't mind it because you know why? She relied on her firearms. This wasn't some 110-pound chick flipping around, beating the brakes off of guys much larger than her. She was relying on her ingenuity and then also her firepower. I remember playing through the reboot on Xbox 360. I forget exactly how long that was. I liked it, but it was also the beginning of the tradition of, you know, bland white girl with a bow, and it's like, oh my god, it's such a new thing. Women are new to video games. Now we just need to start stuffing them into everything. And well, it was about the time that I turned out from the industry. But I got a big problem. Circling back around to the Tomb Raider movies. I hate Angelina Jolie, okay? And I've also got another story in the cut as well about how insufferable she is in real life. But Angelina Jolie popularized that stereotype of just women can do it better than men, and they can do it in heels, and then brainwashing these bitches out there to think that, okay, they're just going to be top shit. Absolutely not. And given the fact that we have how many other hacks that are in here who also think along those same lines. This thing is dead on arrival. Sorry for OG Tomb Raider fans. This is not going to be the show for you. Prime Video's Tomb Raider show from Fleabag creator. Oh, right. You remember that bitch who tanked the Indiana Jones film that just came out this year? If you guys remember, there was an Indiana Jones that came out and it was the biggest bomb that came out this year. And then it was The Flash. Or I might end up having those reversed. But regardless, it's the fucking Marvels. Okay, so you have a bitch who is attached to $100 million disaster, hiring a bitch who's attached to $100 million plus disaster. Birds of a feather, man. They flock together. Prime's Video planned Tomb Raider television adaptation has added a Marvel Cinematic Universe scribe to its writing room, set to be helmed by Fleabag creator Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Prime Video's new show is also intended to establish a shared universe with a new Tomb Raider movie reboot as expected to take place. Fantastic. According to the report from the Variety listing the top 10 up-and-coming screenwriters to watch the Marvels, Megan O'Donnell has been busy working on the Tomb Raider show. Yuck. Well, I guess Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who, oh my god, you guys, the Fleabag was so great. How long ago was Fleabag? And the fact that it was only a UK feminist comedy show, like, it was viewed by absolutely nobody, but it won a lot of awards. Fantastic stuff. But that was all about goofy-ass dogs for as much as I can tell, okay? Because I did a little bit of cursory research on that. I don't know the plot or anything like that, but it was a bunch of anthropomorphic animals. So I guess, based on the marketing and how hard Marvel's pushing this stuff, Phoebe Waller-Bridge decided to try to bring dogs and cats together, and that'll really 100% re-emphasize the gun-toting Lara Croft. Hasn't this bitch been through enough already? Lord have mercy. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.